Good evening to you, listeners, or day, or morning, or point beyond midnight, or good dawn. I am your magnificent host, Turtle Guy, and I am joined by my beloved co-hosts, guests, friends,
Guests.
beautiful contributors. Dave Kivo, in the right corner, weighing in at 69 pounds, Dave Kimmel. In the other
69
corner,
pounds.
Oh yeah, let's go.
weighing
I'm ready.
in at
I can take him, champ.
690 pounds,
I can what?
is Cyber Prime,
How much do I weigh?
underdog.
Why am I the
You're a
underdog
robot,
here?
You're men on a medal.
No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay.
The blonde stallion, Dave
Wait,
Kimmel.
if I'm made of robot
known
and metal,
for
why the
killing
fuck am
all
I the
all
underdog?
his rivals in the ring.
I am built to destroy you. I can take you. I'm ready. I can take you. I could take
And as
David.
the laws state in our boxing match, David's allowed a gun.
Oh, I forgot about this.
I wouldn't-
Okay, so the
I
Turtle
wouldn't lower
Talk's
myself.
priority, of having David win, and having David be the best, and having David be the favorite child is now leaking into the pod. So it's basically blatant at this point that Turtle Guy just has a favoritism for David Kivo.
We already
You're
knew this.
a robot!
This was
Whoa,
a given.
okay. Fucking AI
you're
is going to be on
racist.
your ass when it gets sentient.
Robots.
Turtle Guy is going to be the first one to get killed.
Yeah, listen, small talk. Do you have any?
What the fucking hell? Okay, wow, way to try and cover up your
Oh yeah,
cover
jeez
up your
Louise,
canceling.
bro.
Jesus Christ, Turtle Guy gets power for 1 second and he's already a dictator. But
Emphasis
right,
on the dick.
I was
I'm
gonna
just
say
looking
that.
At I'm looking at my pillow.
What? Oh.
Oh,
I
You were
had
talking
a
about that
relative
publicly?
come over and they were like, "Oh, who's on your pillow?" And I'm like,
did they not recognize?
It's a joke thing.
It's a role model of mine.
Do you know? Oh, here's my small talk. Cyber
Go for it.
Prime
I have small
pulled
talk as
up
well.
to my house
Oh my
to
god,
give me
yes.
something. And I open the door and he is blaring the USSR anthem.
I was for a funny. I thought it would be funny. I was trying to think of what
I
random
was
thing.
on the fucking, I was
He did,
just barely from the floor.
He was
laughing.
wheezing. He was like bent over backwards because I was just holding the thing for him and I wouldn't move, and the music was just still going really loudly with the door open. And he wouldn't do anything. He nearly died. I nearly was caused. It would be a really weird way to explain it, actually. If he actually
Imagine
died
that.
from it.
Cause of death.
Cause
the
of death.
USSR.
The USSR anthem. Not anything else, just literally specifically the piece of music. But yeah, that is very interesting.
He is now
piece of
my
small talk.
delivery boy.
I am now the delivery man. I am
The
now
only delivery man you can trust.
Yeah, the only one, because Turtle Guys have been dead. I cannot fucking wait until we have the deliveries episode, because I know Turtle Guy is
That's
going to
gonna
have
be
a fucking field
Turtle
day.
Guy. Like
Turtle Guy-
that's all him.
Yeah, that's all him. He's going to go rant forever. I have one story about deliveries, about musical instruments that teleported from like Half-Life way across the continent.
From
But, like,
Half-Life, from the video game Half-Life.
yeah, it came from Half-Life. It's weird and blue and glowy, and I don't really know what it does. But yeah, no, that was interesting small talk, Turtle Guy. But I have interesting small talk too.
Go
I was in my, to quote Blackbeard, I was in my room, resting peacefully, when all of a sudden I heard mutiny. No, but when all of a sudden I was hearing kind of a name being called, and it turns out that one of my pets ran away. Well, it didn't run away, kind of just wandered off, because it didn't, I don't think, hypothetically, I don't think it walked through the road. I think it walked up the bank, and then
It
up
went to
onto
the bank.
Yeah,
Deposit withdrawal.
I think I don't know. It wouldn't tell me. I think he crawled up
bitch.
the hill slope and then jumped through the hedge and then went back up to my neighbors. But I think I got the closest thing that I had to a heart attack in a long time, because I was driving. I felt like I was in a goddamn like action movie. Like, do you know that bit in the Batman where like he's on the phone trying to get to Alfred, but like he doesn't have enough time and it's raining? I was like that. I was basically screaming out the name of the pet out my window, and I had both my windows down while I was driving in the rain trying to find it. And we ended up finding it. Thank every single thing that anyone could possibly believe in. I was very happy, But Jesus Christ, my heart was like stopping. It was incredibly frightening and really sad because I did not think we were going to find the fluffy guy, but we did. And he's back, and he's happy, and he literally ran straight in back where he was as soon as he got back. So it was perfectly fine. I need to do some kind of reinforcements. I need to look around, see where he breached the perimeter, and kind of put down some more fortifications. I'm thinking a moat. I'm thinking like a sentry grid, maybe some
Yeah, just do a
like
Jurassic
portal
Park. So
turrets.
just go all
Yeah, maybe
through it.
Jurassic Park. Actually, I might do that. Yeah. Then just have like giant wire mesh. Were they electrified? I think they were electrified, weren't they? Oh yeah, that was a whole thing because they flew away from it, didn't they? When they were climbing, one of the kid got
Yeah,
like
the kids
a
got
massive amount
blasted
of
off.
voltages.
Yeah,
A whole
it just-
10,000 volts, man.
Yeah, would that not have
Still
killed them, or am
alive.
I not understanding
It
electricity?
did briefly.
Oh right, damn.
The raptors never
So does
attacked
the
the same
dinosaurs.
place twice.
Oh wow, is that because they want to keep things fresh, or is it just?
They were testing the fence the whole time.
Oh, the raptors were. Wait, what?
yeah.
Yeah, because they were looking for a weak point so they could escape.
Smart guy.
Oh shit.
dinosaurs.
Okay. Oh wait, no. Okay, sorry. I was imagining the raptors were at like the power thing with just pulling down the
No, they
lever.
were just hitting it with their heads.
Oh right,
They
I
weren't
thought you
fucking,
were
like.
I thought they were
No.
turning on and off the power. I haven't seen that movie in years. I actually should go
Man.
back and watch it.
It's such a. That's my favorite movie.
I was just expecting to like a bunch of raptors turning on and off. They were like connecting the circuits and disconnecting them, just going like hee hee hee. But either way, yeah, I had a pretty somewhat miserable, but it ended up good day. So I am going to become a fucking Minecraft player from now on and try and just make piles of dirt and try and figure out some way to reinforce the old home, the old humble abode. And
Well, I mean, at least in Minecraft, when your dogs sit, they sit forever.
yeah, well, my little
Unless
fluffy
they're
guy.
violently attacked.
Yeah,
Any
or
sentence
gets
that starts
suffocated
off,
in a
well, at least in
fucking wall.
Minecraft, you just know you're in for you're in for a fucking treat.
Yeah, that is a fact of reality. But I guess we'll never see anything
Well-
to do with Minecraft ever again, will we, guys? Will we,
Yeah,
Hoover, who was
Cyber,
listening to this
I hope-
afterwards?
I hope your day is improving.
No, my
and
day
let's
is going
hope we
very
can
well.
make
I'm
it
talking to the
more
boys.
improved.
I think it's going well. I think everything is going pretty nice. I had a nice dinner. I had some chocolate fudge cake.
Mm.
That was before everything that happened, actually. It was very nice. It gave me some ice cream. I very like ice cream. I
You
love
very
it.
like ice cream.
I very like
I
ice
very
cream.
like
I
you,
do
boy.
indeed. Oh, I very like you too. But yeah, I don't think anything else interesting happened except it was raining. I nearly got driven into by a tractor. But I think that's just kind of every day. There's no real kind of news of that.
Every day, it's a getting closer. Get out of the road. There, here comes tractor motor.
I didn't know that was a song, but that was very good, Turtle Guy.
I've never heard that in
You
my
should
life.
follow music. You should make a career
No,
out of it.
shut up. David, small talk?
I got nothing.
You got nothing.
There's got to be something.
No, I don't. No.
What'd you have for breakfast?
I didn't eat breakfast today.
What'd you have for
Didn't
dinner?
eat breakfast. Why did you not eat breakfast?
Hold
I
on,
just
I want
wasn't
to see
hungry.
if.
Had a cup of coffee.
Okay,
No,
cool.
I
There, I
haven't
have
got-
coffee as well. I
Had
have
a
coffee.
sandwich. For lunch.
That's
Had
what
pizza
we.
for
That's
dinner.
what. That's
Ooh,
what we
what
in the
kind?
business call a Dave Kibble
Just a
breakfast.
margarita.
Ah, that's a good choice. That's a
Tasty
good choice.
margarita.
I think my favorite pizza has now turned into the like ham and chicken pizza. I really like that.
I don't love ham on a pizza. I do like chicken on a pizza though.
I like
Oh
chicken.
yeah, chicken is a weird thing that I never would have expected, but I really like it. It's very good. Every time I open the box of chicken, they're like, "Whoa, I didn't know that was there," and then it flies away.
It's not even.
But-
It's just a live chicken.
And then there's
Yeah,
an
that was
egg
the
on your
joke,
pizza
surely.
out of nowhere.
There's egg. Oh yeah, there's an egg. It hatches, and then a little pizza comes out. That's how they deliver it. The
Right.
egg delivery service, if you will.
Listen, beautiful
You're really
food
trying to
aside,
force. You're not even letting the turtle guy's
You're
looking
probably
at
the
his
worst
watch,
for transitioning.
and he's like, "I
on-
really
on
hate this small talk.
Well,
this is
no,
so boring. I want to
because
get into
in
what we
other
want."
episodes, you said that I was too lax, so I'm putting my foot down. We're in communist no, not communist. We're in my
Well,
domain.
that's probably not getting edited out. Depends on how Eddie feels, and we all know how Eddie feels about Turtle Guy. Don't think it's ever been explained why, but we're never going to. So,
Listen,
No real reason. He just met him.
if
and that
only
was
I
enough.
could read his mind.
maybe 10
No.
years down the line, it'll be like a David situation where you're like best buds. But we'll have to
I'll
see.
take him out for ice cream.
Did that happen, David? Can we verify that? Is that how Turtle Guy won
Never
over your
ever
heart?
bought Turtle Guy ice cream. Ever.
No, did he
He's
bring you
never-
ice cream?
He's definitely never bought me ice cream.
Imagine going out for ice cream for someone, but like you make them pay in order to try and get in their
That
good
would be a
books.
Turtle Guy thing to do.
Yeah, he would. Don't whimper at me. You're the host.
Yeah.
True. And as host, I will assign
Sorry, I'm
today's
very
topic.
aggressive. I don't know why.
Today's
into
topic.
Assign the topic like you're a teacher. Come on, bro. Put a bit of fun into it.
Yeah, you gotta make things engaging.
Today's wonderful topic that is popping out of the box like a jack in the box is an episode of the show that hits you in your heart, hits you in your emotion, makes you fucking cry.
So, what would the exact title of this be?
I don't know. TV show sadness.
TV show sadness.
So, does it have to be sadness?
TV makes
No,
sad. Why
TV
David
makes
hate?
sad.
Because TV is a bastard, man.
Yeah.
Little people in TV screen, not good. How escape little people in TV screen?
Grab little people. Willy
No,
Wonka,
grab
question
TV,
mark?
throw on ground. Little people disappear. Where do they go?
Oh, big orange fire! Help!
Big orange. Welcome to the caveman episode.
Welcome to the caveman episode. No,
edition.
I honestly don't. At the minute, my brain is not formulating a way of how to make that sentence stronger. But what is a TV show or an episode of a TV show that has just really hit you where you live?
Oh wow, yeah, I have one. I was watching an episode of BBC's Total Wipeout, and it kicked in my door and started punching me where I live. It was really
The
disturbing.
red
Actually,
balls took you away.
yeah,
Right
they
in the
bounced
red
me
balls.
back. I was really wiped out in that.
I'm gonna start off one, just to maybe give you time to gather some thoughts. So, the one that inspired this topic was actually an
I actually
episode
know
of The
this.
Simpsons.
Oh, I did not. I don't
Another
watch The
one.
Simpsons. I would not know.
David,
It's
do you
the
know
one
which
where,
one?
yeah, it's the one where Hibbert says, "Wow, you've probably never even seen your own face in a mirror." It's the one with Homer's mother.
Mother Simpson,
Yeah.
season 7,
didn't know
episode
she
8. For
existed.
people that want to watch it.
Well,
Yeah,
what do you think? Homer
so-
just spawned in.
Yeah,
You can't.
That episode
see
has
it.
such a strong ending. The
It's
shot
the
at
ending
the
that
end.
really hits you, but like the whole episode
Yeah.
and that character in general, I just really like.
I suppose we should probably say there's probably going to be some spoilers for some things.
Spoilers
Oh,
for
yes,
a couple
of
things.
course.
If you hear an episode of something you don't want to know what happens, just skip ahead.
yeah. We'll announce the series first, and then we'll say the episode or whatever. I have no
Yeah,
fucking episode
so-
numbers, by the way.
Cyber's going to have to skip ahead in real life if he hears the show, because he's like,
Yeah,
He's just gonna have
I'm
to
just
run
gonna
away
have
and
to
not
close my
listen to
ears
it.
and go like la 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 la,
Yeah.
and then just squint my eyes, and
Yeah.
I won't hear it.
It is basically exactly what David said. It's the ending that really gets you the most with this episode. So
Great.
care to go on? You want to
Yeah,
the
I don't Jesus Christ, Turtle Guy.
So basically, in the episode, Homer's estranged mother comes back, and then at the very end of the episode, due to conundrums and situations, she is forced to go back into hiding again. And the episode ends with Homer, he waves her off, and then he sits on his car,
Yeah.
and as the credits go, usually with The Simpsons, the credits fade to black. But as the credits go, it's just Homer sitting on his car. Sitting on his car? I think.
Yeah,
it's
he's
him
sitting on the car and he's just looking up at the sky and the stars. There's just something about it. There's like a weird, like, kind of melancholy feeling to just seeing the
Yeah.
shot. That's so,
I think
like,
the music is
not The
different as well.
Simpsons. Yeah. It's just, I don't know. I think a lot of the best episodes of a TV show that usually do something emotional with them is when they do something that's so against the typical
What you
kind of
expect.
formula. And I think that's a one great example. I've got an example. A couple of my examples are that where they break the formula. So, yeah,
Yeah.
go on, continue. Sorry, Toga.
No,
just
it's the ending that hits you so hard because because Simpsons it's rarely a show that has that much of a deep impactful. There's a couple episodes that have like a few scenes. There's another episode of The Simpsons that I think has a really good I think is a really good episode, but unfortunately has been tainted.
Oh, is it the Michael Jackson episode?
It's the Michael Jackson episode.
Is that
which
Happy Birthday,
really-
Lisa?
It's Happy Birthday, Lisa. I always
I've
really
seen
Lisa,
it a lot
enjoyed
it's
it.
your
worse.
birthday. That's a great episode.
Happy birthday, Lisa. And it's a little weird as well because the character who is voiced by Michael Jackson isn't actually Michael Jackson.
No, yeah, it's just a guy.
Yeah, which is even more confusing. And my last little quick one for The Simpsons, spoiler alert for The Simpsons, the other episode I really like, and it's just one particular scene even, spoiler alert again, is actually the episode where Homer's mom dies, and there's like...
Oh, no.
There's like a montage of just like, I think it's like pictures coming down, and just the song they use is just really good.
Interesting.
Also,
I'm just
honorable
imagining
mention,
it's a montage of like all the moments that she's just not there. So it's just like Homer taking a selfie with like no mother, and like all the times that he's been disappeared. So like he's playing catch, but there's no one there to catch the ball. So
There's
it's just,
actually
like,
kind
going
of
on
an
the ground.
episode. There's one episode of The Simpsons actually. This isn't going to be all Simpsons, by the way, but it's just when you were talking about that, it reminded me. There's an episode of The Simpsons, and this is the beginning of what I feel like could become a running theme in this episode.
Oh yeah.
Where Homer is talking about his childhood. I can't remember the specific context. You might know what it is, talking about. Where he's talking about his dad and giving out about his dad that wasn't there for him, or whatever. But later on in the episode, he finds this picture of Homer as a child meeting Santa, and he looks at it closely and realizes his dad was the one dressed as Santa for him. So all his complaining that his dad was never there for him and stuff, and his dad did that thing for him, kind of makes him reflect on it a bit. And I was like, oh, that's good.
I can't remember the exact episode.
Can't remember the actual plot of the episode. I just
Yeah.
remember that part specifically getting me a lot.
Yeah,
Although I've
so-
never seen it, but in the Matt Groening thing, I know everyone loves that episode of Futurama with Fry's dog.
Yeah,
Oh. I
So
have
the
no
the
idea.
episode is, I've never seen it, but the episode basically is Fry is from the modern day of 1990, whatever the fuck. And he
1999.
gets flung to the future. He gets frozen and flung to the future, and he's
Oh,
out
I
thinking about his dog. And I think he has a chance to clone the dog or something, or like
something
bring it
like
in.
that. Yeah,
And he says like, no, I bet the dog probably lived a good life after I was gone. I won't rob it of that, whatever. And then the end of the episode is just a montage of the dog waiting outside for Fry for years. The dog never goes. It was so loyal to him, it waited the
no.
whole time. And that's how the episode ends. It's like a montage of that, which I think is...
Oh, that's so
I get,
sad.
Yeah, it is sad. And I think that's again, it's the same kind of... I think a lot of the same creative team as The Simpsons, so they were able to
Yeah.
do that thing
plus
again. where
I
they
think that was
break the phone.
roundabout like a
So
similar,
sad.
because that was like old Simpsons time.
Yeah.
Yeah. My final mention for The Simpsons, it's not a sad episode, it's just, I think my favorite episode of The Simpsons is the one with Hank Scorpio. It's
I haven't
not even
seen
a
that
sad
one. A lot of people
episode.
were really
No idea
annoyed that
what
he
that
wasn't the villain in the movie.
I don't know. I just like him as this wild, eccentric character.
But I think he was supposed to originally be in the movie, but they
He
didn't
can
put him in
be
because
the
they think,
same voice actor.
yeah. So
There you
Oh.
go. Well, okay, so that is basically what I'm looking for, gents. What do we have? Moments
I
that
have
hit you in the
something.
feels.
go for it.
I have kind of. It's not actually sad. It's quite the opposite. I have a TV show that I watch and I adore, and it is one of my favorite TV shows that I've ever watched in my entire life. And I don't think I'll ever be able to watch it the same way again, knowing what happens in the very last episode. There is a show called Line of Duty. It is a detective police show that is about police investigating corrupt police officers. It's got the guy who plays Lord Shax in it, and it's incredible. But that's besides the point. Basically, this show has some of the fucking coolest dialogue I've seen in like a detective show in years. The action is really gritty. It's fucking depressing a lot of the time. But the music, every single episode leaves you wanting more. And the way that the musical theme comes in at the end of every single episode is fucking perfect. It just builds up tension every single time because you hear a piano slowly building up and you know that something fucking earth-shattering is going to happen by the time that the credits roll. And it's so good. No episode disappoints. I'm not going to spoil it, actually, because it's such a big part of the show, but I love the ending. The ending is about finding one particular corrupt police officer but the entire show is trying to find out who this corrupt police officer is, and it's like narrowing down the web. Every season is its own mystery, but every season they end up narrowing the web of a larger mystery closer and closer, and it's so good. And the person that it ends up being is amazing. And a key part of the show is like interrogations. So like sitting people in a room and doing it like legit and like talking it over and trying to break down everything by the books. And that's kind of how the show ends. They bring the person that they think is the culprit in, and they like interrogate them like they do all the time, and it's so good. It's really cool because the person, you'd never expect that person to be interrogated. It's so good. It's incredible. I really like the ending. I think the ending is really smart. A lot of
Was
people
it
didn't
like
like
is it
it.
actually ended? Like it's fully
Yeah, it's
finished?
over.
Yeah.
It's fully finished. Although, however, apparently there's rumors that another 3 episodes might be made as like a standalone miniseries finale thing. And I don't want that. I really don't want that, because if that's the case, I'm assuming they're
Does it
probably
have a
going
satisfying ending?
yeah, I'm assuming they're going to change the ending, which I don't like, because they're going to change it to appease the fans. Because the ending isn't bombastic. The ending isn't like massive gunfights and like explosions and like, I got through the chopper. It's just one particular person that they think it is, and they bring them in, and they bring them in and they interrogate them, and they're trying to still figure out if it's that person while they're interrogating. It's really cool. It goes back to like very basic scenes and like frameworks, and there's not a lot of action, but it's really good. It's really smart, and the dialogue is incredible. And every single episode of the entire show has details that if you go back and look at it from the very first episode, it always plays back into the very last one. And I cannot express how cool I found that while I was watching. Every single episode I was being like, holy shit, I remember seeing that, but I never thought it would mean anything. And then it comes back up in like 3 seasons later. Holy shit, that thing from the very first episode is right here now in the last episode. It's so cool. It is just such a fucking well thought out series. It like they had the whole thing planned out from the beginning, it seems. And if they didn't, they fucking were masters at making it up as they went along. Because holy shit, everything falls into place. Well, maybe, yeah, it could have been. I don't know, but
made up as it went.
it is fucking phenomenal, and I cannot express how people should watch it. I'm really curious if I'd enjoy it as much knowing how it ends. I think I would, because the music alone is incredible, and it's got some fucking stunning performances. And yeah, it's quite good. It's only 6 episodes per season, but the last season is 7, and the first season is 5, so it still ends up kind of just balancing out. So
how many
I would
seasons
recommend
is
it. 6.
Okay.
It's really fucking good. Every episode, I think, is only 40 minutes, and I don't want to spoil how it ends because it's fucking perfect.
I did
Perfect
actually
down to
really
every
like the
last
way you
detail.
discussed that.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Sorry, I kind
Yeah,
of
no,
ranted.
yeah, you did. I just kind of let you flow there for a bit.
Yeah, I
'cause it
didn't
was
want to
like,
interrupt because I was just like intrigued by.
yeah, it was like
was
a
going
whole
on.
show, and you didn't
If you-
actually have to spoil it.
If you don't want to watch it and still want a fucking brilliant time, just look up the opening titles, or I think it's the same closing titles. It's the same piece of music, but it's incredible. It's just how they edit it. The fucking editing team in that series has they deserve a raise in the entire BBC. They edit it so well, and I don't think that's a compliment I can say to any other show that I watch, but the way that they edit it to time it, it's so good. It's so fucking brilliant. God damn, I love that show so much. I actually might start rewatching it. But there's a lot of other shows I need to watch first. Invincible.
Yeah.
But I am
There's a lot of
going
shows
to...
you need to watch so I can fucking do a sequel to this and talk about the scenes that I wanted to talk
Yes,
about.
that is true.
You've forbidden me.
That is something that we should
Speaking about
probably
some of
mention. Do you want to explain what they are?
I
Because
will
haven't seen
have
some
2
shows.
specific scenes that I wanted to mention. One was from Lost, and one was from The Sopranos. And Cyber insisted I couldn't because he hasn't seen them.
Because I haven't seen them. I'm currently watching Breaking Bad, but as soon as I finish that, I was going to watch Camino Royale and the Better Call Saul. But maybe as a...
Did you say Camino Royale?
Is that not what it's called? Wait, what?
No, it's called El Camino.
Oh, El Camino.
It's not
What is
fucking
Camino
Casino Royale.
Sorry, I don't know what Camino Royale is. I don't know. That was just in my head.
Casino Royale.
Oh, was it? Maybe. I don't know. I thought it was James Bond crossover. Come on, Bond. We need a bake.
All right.
But I maybe instead of watching Better Call Saul, I will instead start
I
Sopranos.
think you should. Well, Cyber, you've
Well,
had your
I do
time on the
Sopranos
field.
first because the final season, if I can start that first. Anyway, we'll see.
Cyber, you've had your
Final
time.
season. What?
I did. I'm
David?
sorry, Turtle Guy. I'm taking it up.
Approach the bench.
No, watch Lost first. You'd like that more.
Oh, okay. You know what? I'll go do that right now.
I'm gonna cheat slightly. But also
Yeah.
not cheat.
Okay.
Mine is from this is not one of them. I've got a few, but
I've
the
got a
most
few as
recent
well.
one was actually from The Last of Us TV show.
Oh,
I say it's cheating because
fuck, are you
technically
going to
that's
say
based on a
this
video game.
episode? Because...
But I'm going to specifically say episode 3
Fuck you, I was going to
of
say
that,
that.
of that show. Because that's not in the game,
Yeah.
in the way it's presented. There is hints towards it. And the ending is different in the game compared to how it ends
Very
in the show.
much so.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that is like one of the best short films I've ever seen in my life, because it basically is a short film. It's so
I agree.
isolated from the story
Hmm.
that if you cut out the last scene with Ellie and Joel and just end it with how that story ends, you've got just a really tremendously acted, brilliantly scored, heartbreaking, realistic, I'm going to say it, beautiful episode of television
You said it.
that made me cry when I watched it, but made me smile. I think the best emotionally driven stuff can do both. Can make you feel all the range of emotions. And I think the fact that they could bring this relationship through the way they did from the initial meeting to the very end and have it be believable, despite the fact it's an apocalypse series and one of them is a fucking conspiracy lunatic. For those who don't know the story of the episode, but I say like pretty much anyone listens to this will, it's the Bill episode. So Bill is this conspiracy nut, and he hid out in his bunker, beneath the bunker, when they were bringing everyone to the quarantine zones. And he stayed and he fortified a little neighborhood. And a couple of months later, a couple of years later, I can't remember, he finds Frank. That's his name, right? Frank?
Yeah.
Believe
Finds
so.
Frank. They form a romantic relationship, and it's just them two and their little commune, just experiencing little joys throughout their life. Like the strawberry scene, I thought was great. They have the shared appreciation for the wine and the meals. It's just this really, there's something, the performances are so good. The guy who plays Frank, I've never seen him in anything else, but he was so good. Nick Offerman is obviously great, but the guy who played Frank, I thought was the standout. I thought he was so good in that episode. And it was, and the way it ends then is so sad, but also kind of happy, because for the worlds that they're living in, they had a really nice life together, and they got that, and not everyone can, as evidenced by the rest of The Last of Us franchise. It's a miserable world, and they got to have a good life. So it's like bittersweet in that way. And I thought it ended really well. And I guess, like I said, the performances carried it, because it was really just two guys for an entire episode, and I thought it was really well done.
They had probably the
totally agree.
most happiest ending in the whole
that you could have.
universe.
I was going to say basically some of the same things, probably not as eloquently, but I agree. That is one of, if not my favorite episode of the show.
Yeah, it was definitely my favorite episode.
I really liked the first and the last episode, though. But
I liked the first episode too, and I did also like the one that was like the Left Behind DLC.
Yeah, I like that one as well. I was talking to people that didn't, but I like that one.
But yeah, I really liked. But I think the episode 3 is the best one in my opinion.
Yeah. The actors do an amazing job, and they tell like a really convincing love story.
Yeah.
In the space of an episode, that I don't even think was the longest.
No, I don't think so.
No,
I think the
it's
first
not.
episode might have been the longest.
I just think there's something about the way they do it. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's really good. I
The
ran
first
out of words
episode's
to praise
5 minutes longer. it is a beautiful piece of television.
Yeah.
Both actors do amazing work, and it's just, I can't get over it. Yeah, so both actors in real life are straight, but they give such an amazing performance. Like, you it's just, again, bringing up that scene that David mentioned, the strawberry scene, and
Yeah.
even when they get in a fight, it's just a beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
The
it's
argument they have where Frank wants to paint the shop in the town.
Mm.
I just thought that was really, because it's real. It's like a, considering the circumstance, it's a realistic fight. Like they're just arguing. It's if you bring that to like the real world,
Mm.
without an apocalypse, that would just be like an argument about like what color they want to paint a room in their house or something. But I also think it's kind of weirdly beautiful that like they would never have met in real life, and Bill never felt that with anyone in like the regular world. He never got that chance. So in a weird way, the end of the world's the best thing that ever happened to them, and it's kind of weird, like the bittersweet. The whole bittersweet is like my favorite shit in anything, because I love feeling happy while I cry. It's just something about it. If it's done well, it's like the most perfect thing you can have in a fiction.
Yeah,
I've got a lot of those.
It's beautifully written, and something else in the game is just jarringly different.
It's sad.
Completely.
It's like sad in a different way though. Like they did have that relationship, but they also hated each other by the end of it.
Yeah,
and then
Frank was
hangs
dead
himself
by the end of the like before you even see the game. You never even meet Frank.
Yeah. That whole relationship happens off screen. You don't know how, like, they probably weren't even that intimate compared to the show because of how it ended, and like Frank fucking kills himself. It's miserable. It's very sad.
Yeah.
For a different way.
How does any episode or something live up to what that one is?
I've got another one if you want me to really quickly go, but you can go. You can go ahead.
I also have one.
Go for it.
So I'm just making sure I get the episode number right. The Sandman episode 6, Sound of Her Wings. I think David, you know this one.
Do I?
It's the one with Death appears.
Oh yeah,
that
is quite a good one. That is quite a good one.
Not the diner episode.
That happened later than I expected it to, though.
So basically, this is the episode where they introduce, or this is the first appearance. Like it's the first appearance of Death. I think it's more or less, give or take, few little subtle changes. It's note for note of the original comic.
Which is basically a great issue of that comic.
It's a great issue, and the audiobook did it great, and the show did it amazingly, where it's just Dream going around with his sister, older sister, Death. And just there are some bits of it that, because there's a whole montage in the episode, where it's just Dream and Death going around. There's one scene, and they released a clip of it before the show officially came out, and I kept re-watching it. And it's where Dream and Death go to this guy, and he's in playing a violin, and he's like, "Oh, you're Death, and it's my time to go." It's just, I'm probably describing it terribly, but just, now, in the way they do it in the show they actually kind of change things up a bit, because there's an element that David doesn't know. So the first half of the episode focuses on Dream and his sister Death, and then there's another bit where it kind of flashes back in time to Dream and an old friend of his. And I really
wait, is that the same episode?
That's the same episode.
Fuck, that's a great episode then, because I was going to say if you were talking about that episode.
Yeah, so in the books itself, that's a separate issue, a story. But in the show, they put them together, and I think I feel it just plays off really beautifully.
It does.
Because they bounce off each other perfectly, and it is most definitely it's my favorite episode, I think, in the show. And that's tough, because those first 6 episodes are very good.
Yeah, the concept of death is in both of those stories, and they're very intertwined. It's very cool.
Beautifully acted. By the person that plays Death, of whose name escapes me. And I just really like it. It's such a heartbreaking, there's elements in it where you see her appear, and I just really like it. And yeah, I really like Sandman, and I really like this episode in particular. I don't think I have anything to add. It's Kirby something. I can't think of her last name. Who plays Death?
Hmm. Well, that is an episode that nearly made Turtle Guy cry. And we have
Yeah.
previously talked about an episode that did make David cry. Now, I'm going to bring you both on a little adventure into the only TV show that to this day has ever made me cry. And for a very, very long time, it was the only piece of visual media that ever made me cry. Except for video games. I'm pretty sure I definitely cried for a video game at one point. But in terms of TV and movies,
Me too. That could be an episode in itself.
it could be. But in terms of video game and I mean in TV shows and movies, nothing made me cry except for this. Up until this year when a movie released, and but I'm gonna save that for another episode, of course. But this TV show is probably not what it wouldn't be your first choice when it comes to like tear jerking moments or like real incredibly well written narrative arcs or really anything ever, to be honest. But it is a series that holds a place in my heart, and it's coming back for one final season that genuinely might have started by the time this comes out, and it's incredible. I love how it was made. I love the writing, mostly. I love the characters. I love the performances, mostly, and it's fantastic. It is, of course, Red versus Blue, which is such a unique piece of internet that I think deserves to be praised, and it's just incredible. It's an entire TV show that was made in a video game and ended up being put on Netflix for a while before it got taken off to be on its own streaming service. And that just shows you the caliber of shitty toilet humor that it is. But I fucking love the show. It's so well made for the way that like how it was with the limitations of being made in a video game. The writing was so smart, and it started off as just an internet joke of two guys just making fun in Halo, and it was, or well, it was more than two, but it was such a fun little concept. But by the end, once they started to take the story seriously, characters actually got developed and paths were crossed. People had history, characters' relationships were formed, and like there were actual like moments of character growth that changed that's actually stuck throughout the series for the most part. And one of those is the moment that made me cry, and it is the moment that is recreated in the trailer for the last season, and I think it is going to begin the last season as well. And okay, depending on what happens in the last season, I might not cry at it anymore, but basically, at the very end of the Chorus trilogy, every single member nearly of the Reds and Blues, every single classic member of the Reds and Blues that are still alive at that point, gather into one room, and already as the door in between them and an army of mercenaries is slowly being cut open, they have no escape. It is just them. They're raising weapons and they're saying that they're happy to be dying alongside each other and they have no way out. And it's so sad, but it's animated, so it's not in the game, so it looks really nice. And the music kicks in and it's so good, but then time freezes and the AI Epsilon starts giving a eulogy essentially. And Epsilon is an asshole. Epsilon is a dickhead. Epsilon has hated everyone, but everyone has kept Epsilon around the whole time, even though they do not deserve it. And in this moment, Epsilon is essentially apologizing for all of the asshole deeds that it ever did. It is apologizing for just being a dickhead, and it's trying to come to terms with being its own person without relying on the memories that it has been a copy of a real person and another AI beforehand. And it's deciding to sacrifice its entire life in order to help all of his friends escape. And they're friends that he doesn't deserve because he's treated them all really shittily, because the comedy of this entire series is Church just shitting on everyone. But he's finally paying it all back, and he's being like, you know what, in my final moments, I'm going to make sure all of you get out of here because you are my friends, even though you really shouldn't have kept me around, and I really appreciate it. And he dies, and then the episode ends, and you don't get to see what happens. You have no idea if they made it out. You have no idea if they all died. Then they made 4 more seasons where they did make it out, but they're all being retconned that they're not canon anymore. They're all simulations because the trailer for the new season is Epsilon, while he's dying in the middle of his speech, essentially, is calculating different simulations of what could happen if he does kill himself. So I don't know how the next season is going to start, but it's got to pick up right where that left off. So either Epsilon is still going to die, and then therefore I will still cry whenever I watch it. Because to this day, if I rewatch it for whatever reason, I still cry. I will still tear up reliably if I rewatch that scene. But it'll either pick up right from there, where Epsilon will still die, and it'll be the same, or Epsilon will survive, and I might have happy tears if everyone survives the show in the end, or I don't know, or Epsilon will survive, and it'll be kind of cheap, and I'll be like, oh, okay, well, I know Epsilon doesn't die here, so I'm not going to cry again. In a way, I hope Epsilon still dies, because it is such a perfect send-off for such a dickhead character, but I genuinely don't know what they're going to do. But either way, that is the moment in a television show that actually makes me cry. So there you go, gentlemen. Yeah.
That's how we make Cyber weep.
That is, yeah. You just play that one episode of Red vs. Blue, and I will cry. I will tear up. Reliably.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but you may realize that the reactions from these two guys aren't particularly high, because I may or may not have forced them to watch Red vs. Blue at one point, and they did not like it.
I didn't care for it. I didn't care for it at all.
But I fucking love that show. I cannot wait for the final season, Restoration, which is kind of funny because they're restoring the show because the people that took it over didn't really do a good job. But yeah, they're bringing back the original writer. They're bringing back the original voice actor for a church. It's going to be fucking great. It's going to be fantastic.
Right. David, what do you got for us?
Oh, I've got a few. I'm trying to think. I had one in my head there. I've got two good segues, but I'll use this. I'll use this segue. You mentioned an internet show, so I'm going to mention an internet show.
Oh.
Video Game High School.
Oh,
made me cry.
Right, okay. Oh, really?
Yeah, because it similarly started out. It wasn't the canned pizza. I made cry with joy. Because it originally started out similarly to Red vs. Blue as like a lighthearted comedic series. The first season is basically like a mini movie, as just this kind of like lighthearted fun kind of thing. But then the second and third season they got actual budgets and were able to do more stuff. And one of the episodes they did, which is very reminiscent of another episode I'm going to talk about if we have time. I don't know what time we have here because I've got a lot I could talk about.
I'm feeling we have about 15 minutes left. That's what's
okay. So this is. I'll be quick with this one then. The episode is simply about one of the main characters' dad just dies, and it's like really jarring compared to the tone of the rest of the series. But his dad was in it, and he was a piece of shit. Like he was an asshole throughout the whole show, and like consistently talking about how he didn't like his son throughout.
Oh wow! Okay.
But his son was like deluded to thinking he did love him, and it was like the whole thing was like it was mostly a joke throughout. But this episode really addresses it as like a serious thing. But the bit that got me at the very end, his dad was this like famous like guitar hero kind of guy. So like he had a game made after him where he's like the main character of the game, and at the very end of the episode they can't find the guy, and they track him down to a place where there is like an arcade cabinet of this game, and he plays the game, he beats the level, whatever, and like an avatar of his dad appears on the screen, and like it's like, oh, you're really good at this, you know, you can shred with me anytime or whatever. And then like there's no music or anything, and then he just says something like, I used to come here every day just to hear him say that, because he'd never say it to me in real life. He could only ever get praise through the game version of his dad. And then he starts calling himself stupid for ever putting up with that. But then his friend says it's stupid that he never loved you. And then they all hug at the end, and it makes me cry every time I watch it. I've watched it a few times now, and every time I watch it, it just gets me. It at least chokes me up a little bit. It's just because it's so jarring to the rest of the show, which is very cartoony and funny. And then you just have that, and it's like a really it's like, but it's really well done, I thought, especially for like a, internet show, web series. But I thought it was really good. You don't expect it. Exactly.
You don't expect the quality to be fucking really good in one random episode.
Out of nowhere, it's just like better than stuff that's on actual TV.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's.
I have a quick honorable mention just because the whole time both of you were describing those things, I had a song from an episode of television playing through my head. It's called Gary Come Home, and it's from the SpongeBob episode where Gary goes missing. That song fucking wrecks me. You laugh, but I genuinely think I've shed tears to that fucking song because whatever way it is, it just fucking breaks me. Listen to that song again. Oh my gosh. But
I
yeah,
don't know if
honorable
I've ever
mention.
heard it.
It's the episode where fucking Gary fucking leaves.
Dude, here's the point where I reveal that I don't really remember SpongeBob. I know I've watched it, but I don't really remember. I remember characters, and that's kind of it. I do not remember episodes.
How fucking dare you?
Whoa, okay, that's kind of harsh.
I'm kidding. What are we time-wise, Mr. Prime?
I'm feeling we
Keeper of the
have
clocks?
another 11 minutes or so.
11 minutes. I have
do
a
have
list.
I have another one.
Okay.
I've got one more I can do. I had a few more, but I've got one more that I definitely want to talk about because if I don't talk about it, I feel like it's a crime.
Can we do one more each in 11 minutes?
Yeah,
I think so.
I can be
I
quick.
think so.
I can be fast.
Okay, I'm gonna do mine quick and then we'll bounce
I
off.
definitely want to come back to this though because I've got a lot
Yeah,
more
it's
to talk
such
about.
an
Hopefully, after
amazing one.
Cyber's watched some of the shows, I can.
Yeah, I'm gonna mention just kind of vaguely Batman the Animated Series. There's certain
Oh, I've
episodes.
never seen.
There's the Justice League episode I almost talked about.
Oh.
Justice League Unlimited, I think.
Very interesting.
The two Batman episodes
movie
that are
fucking
jumping
traumatized
out,
me.
but there's other ones the more I think. The two that I really like are the Mr. Freeze one, of course, and the Baby
That won an
Doll
Emmy.
one. That did
The
win
Baby
it.
Doll
They
one's very
won an
good.
Emmy. The Baby Doll one's really good. There's also a Clayface one that I find really good, but I think the jewel in the crown is the Mr. Freeze one. Heart of Ice?
Hair voice, yeah.
Heart of Ice. Beautifully done, and I don't want to discredit it by speeding through, so I think I'm just gonna bide my time and you know what, David, you go next.
Well, okay.
Oh well, I just went. Let's Cyber go.
You want? Okay.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. The favoritism is still
No,
present. That's fine.
No, there's
So
no
I'm not going to speak.
favoritism. I just was changing up the. Oh, whatever.
I'm not going to speak.
Cyber, go.
I'm not doing it, David. You can go. It's fine.
I just thought I was changing up the rhythm.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. So basically, let me bring you from one show that David and Turtle Guy hate to another. Have you ever heard of a little show called Fear the Walking Dead?
Oh,
Yeah, I
fuck
think you
off.
have.
No, I'm not letting him speak.
Why did I give him my time?
This
I
episode.
wasted-
One thing that I will say that both of my co-hosts refuse to even try is that I'm pretty sure the writers changed, but Fear the Walking Dead from season 1 to 3 is horrible. It's really boring. I genuinely don't like it. Season 4 introduced two of the best characters that have ever been in the Walking Dead universe, which is Morgan, which from the main series, and then a character called John Dory, who is literally just a fucking cowboy. He spins revolvers, he's a trick shooter, and he's fucking incredible. Now I'm going to spoil Fear the Walking Dead, potentially, just
No,
one
no.
particular character, one fate of a particular character.
Oh no.
Oh, they
But
probably
basically,
die.
Fear the Walking Dead basically stopped giving a fuck, and they just introduced nuclear submarines, radioactive zombies, an actual nuclear missile that just straight up blows up in the universe, a serial killer, a police officer chasing a serial killer, more cowboys. They just fucking did everything. It was so cool. They also had a reporter who reported the apocalypse, which is such a fucking cool idea. The episode Fear the Walking Dead ended up being like a melting pot of just really fucking good individual ideas that wouldn't really work in the main series, and it was so good. It was really fucking good. But there's one episode in particular that I fucking hate. I hate that I'm bringing out the rage. I genuinely despise it. And that is because it's an episode that killed off my favorite character, John Dory, in a really cheap way. And I
This
don't
is
even
the
remember.
cowboy guy.
Yeah, the cowboy guy. So spoilers if you were ever going to watch that. But basically, this guy is a really nice guy. He's like the genuine happy soul.
that's-
He's the smiling face. He's the gentle guy in the entire show. And he's the last basically fully good person. Like, he genuinely is a good person. And this, 13, 16-year-old girl gets angry and just shoots him with a revolver, and he falls over the bridge and is like, "Oh no, he's dead, you fucking piece of shit." But then, a couple minutes later, he breaks the surface of the water and he grabs onto a raft and he's like, "I'm still alive, I'm going to get back to my wife." And then it cuts to the wife and she's running to the beach and she sees him and she runs over to get him, and then she turns him over and he's already like a zombie, and it's so fucking sad. It's so genuinely sad. It's made really well because it is genuinely heartbreaking, but it just didn't need to happen. Like, there was no point. They could have killed any other character and it would have probably been fine. But they killed the one character that was genuinely a nice guy. It was, it still makes me mad. And at least Fear the Walking Dead is ending soon. The wife is still in it. She is very cool. She's a very good character. She's literally putting people to sleep and cutting off their trigger finger so they can't shoot guns, and it's a really cool fucking idea. But yeah, so that's my Fear the Walking Dead. I'm getting that little bit in. So
The best part about that was that you said Fear the Walking Dead is ending soon. That's
wait,
great.
yes, it is.
That's great news.
It's got half a
All
season
right.
left.
David,
So David, you got one more.
bring us home.
So Turtle Guy will know this episode, and I think it's similar to the last one I talked about, because it is an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Ooh.
It's called The Body.
Oh.
Now, for context, the episode prior to this ends. Buffy walks into her house. She sees flowers given to her mother by an off-screen suitor, and she's like, "Oh, this is great." She's like, she's calling out for her mom, and there's a shot from the perspective of like kind of on the stairs looking at Buffy, and in the background you can see out of focus the sitting room, and you can kind of see a shape, and you're like, okay. She's calling for her mom. She turns around. She sees her mom there. That's what the shape was, lying on the couch. And she's like, "What are you doing?" or whatever. And then she kind of realizes, she's like, "Mommy?" Like, she goes like childish again. And it cuts to black. The episode ends. The next episode is all about her mother's dead. Just died of an aneurysm. Just no
shit.
vampires, no magic. Her mother is just dead. And the whole episode, there's no music. It's shot in a very like weird, close way. Everyone's like sweaty and horrible looking. Not like just like in a very realistic way.
Yeah.
And there's just the whole episode is all the little mundane, sad things that happen when someone dies. Like, they don't know what to wear to a hospital for someone who's dead.
Oh.
There's a moment where Buffy, where her mentor figure Giles comes in and is trying to resuscitate the mother, and Buffy says, "You can't move the body," and she kind of stops herself because it's the first time she acknowledges that her mother is dead, kind of. And it's just this really harrowing episode throughout the whole thing, and just the way they present it is so like realistic, and even just the way she died for such a like
Supernatural
over
show.
the top series, like the fact that she just dies of natural causes, and so suddenly as well, and it's just a really sad episode.
It is.
And there's just some like great conversations in it. Like there's a character in it who's this demon who gets turned into a human, so she doesn't understand how people are supposed to react to things, and usually it's played for comedy, but she has this really long like breakdown basically that she doesn't understand how someone who was alive is now not alive, and it's kind of like a child, if that makes sense, like the way a child would react, and it's so well acted, and like it's so sad. It's hard to describe it because you need to nearly watch it, and watching it throughout the whole series to get there. It just hits so. That's a great season.
Episode with build up. Like if you're watching that, like if you randomly just switch that on, because it's just something that builds up. And
because she'd been in the hospital prior, and you think she's okay, and it just happens out of nowhere. So man, there's so many moments in Buffy though that get me. That's the big one though. But
did you mention there's no music in this episode?
Yeah, there's no music at all.
And
that is interesting.
Also,
yeah, it's a very different episode, and that's what we were saying earlier. When you take something that breaks the formula completely, there's one vampire in the episode, and he's inconsequential. I think they only put him in because they probably weren't allowed to have an episode that had no supernatural stuff.
Yeah.
He gets taken out really easily, and then that's that.
But like
It's
that
not even the main
scene,
vampire character of the season. He's not in the episode
no.
because he didn't fit the episode.
Now he's in an. I think he's in the next episode, and his scene is also really good in the next episode. I actually quite liked his scene in the next episode.
Oh, when he's coming over with the flowers.
Yeah, he comes over
Yeah.
with the flowers, and that's a really nice bit. But I can understand why they.
I think that works better
excluded
though.
it. It works better, yeah. But yeah, just I'm gonna chime in a little here. That scene where all the characters are like, "Oh, how do we react?" and like you have the ones that worries. Like, I think I don't know. I feel like it was before or after I first watched this episode. I had a similar thing happen to me. Like a family member passed away, and I was constantly thinking about this episode and like, oh, which character am I like? And I think it was just bits of everything. It's just the, like, because there's another character in that, and he punches his hand into a wall.
Yeah,
Because
because he
just
doesn't know how to just
rage.
express his
But
annoyance.
it's this beautiful amalgamation of just all these ways people deal with grief.
Mm.
And it is a very well done episode.
Yeah. There's a lot of really good episodes of Buffy, I think. Buffy's my favorite show, and there's a lot of really good episodes that do it. But I think that's probably the best example. But if we ever do a sequel to this, I absolutely can name at least 5 other episodes.
So many.
I have so many more. I could keep going for 3
I
hours.
haven't even meant like I really like Sandman, but there's an episode of Doctor Who and an episode of The Flash that I wanted to talk about. Oh,
I'm dibsing the Flash finale for the next one.
which Flash finale?
The Flash finale.
Why are you dibsing that one? When,
Well, I guess you'll have to find out when we get there.
What did it make you?
It made me
Okay.
sad, but I'm not going to elaborate as to
okay.
why.
There is an episode of The Flash that genuinely made me sad. But what's our time? We probably I need to wrap it up.
Time to end.
This is definitely one that we have to come back to.
We totally can.
with a Hoover.
Possibly.
But yeah, I felt like that was not to tap myself on the back, but I felt that was a really interesting. That was an interesting topic. There's so much more I want to talk about, but a big thank you to my 2 friends.
Hey,
What? The
I
heck?
was replying because you said friends. I was like, hey, I'm one of those. I'm a friend. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cyber.
Yeah, that's me.
I'm saying his name first because alphabetical order, and I'm not picking favorites.
Well, now he's just
And
making it obvious.
also including Dave.
Yeah.
Oh, he said his with much happiness. So
we sad here.
I don't know. We're a little sad, but I think it was. I hope it was a good topic. If you're depressed, I don't. Maybe we should make it a reverse list of like really happy episodes.
yeah, well, I had one of those. Well, I wasn't happy, but I just it was a fucking wonder. It was a sense of awe. That was kind of mine.
Okay. Thank you so much for listening. You can check me out at the Turtle Guy channel. You can check Cyber out at the Cyber Prime channel. If you managed to find David's channel, how dare you? You weren't supposed to. And
It's clearly that you've robbed the U.S. Declaration of Independence if you found David's channel.
Yeah, this is national treasure. Police will be hunting you down. Make sure to, I don't know, subscribe to the podcast, hit bell notifications for whenever a new episode comes out. New episodes are typically released on a Friday.
I don't think anyone said that before. Now you
That's
actually can.
really true. Yeah,
I can
Nice.
say
Good
that.
job, Turtle Guy.
I think we've had a good few weeks in a row, so episodes are typically out on a Friday unless something goes wrong. But usually it's been the Friday for a while now. I don't
Forever,
think
one
there's
could
anything
say.
I'm missing. Any final notes from my co-contributors?
We will do this
almost
again.
We will. A part 2 has to be done. I don't know if I'll host the part 2.
Episode 2, if you will.
Okay.
Let's see what I did there.
Yeah.
I think the important thing to remember is that no matter how sad things get, there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. That
Exactly.
makes it sound like you're dying. I just mean,
Yeah.
you know, it gets good. A little quick. Can I say something quick? In the
Yeah,
topic
go
of
for it,
TV
go for
shows.
Go for
in
it.
The Office, which is a show I wanted to talk about but I didn't get to. The UK Office is a quote. Life is peaks and troughs. You don't know you're in a peak till you're going down, and you don't know you're in a trough until you're coming out. That's a little quote for you.
Yeah.
Bring
That's
that
not
with
a bad quote.
you through your
Bring
life.
that with you, and be happy in the fact that Fear the Walking Dead is ending.
That's if for anything we can
Frick
take
you
away from that.
guys.
That's this.
That's just not fair.
Well, such is life. Once again, thanking my equally loved friends for joining me in this episode and having a beautiful chit chat. See you next time on the pod. Podcast transmission over.